Happy New Year everyone. I don't know whether you're taking part in the finish along, but I think that the Q4 link up is now up there. I've actually only managed to finish one of the things I wanted to finish in the last quarter, so I'm looking forward to writing my blog post and maybe sticking to that for the next quarter. I am making some more progress on my covered chairs as well, so you might remember that I did two and I just had one more to go, but I couldn't be bothered to take all the staples out because there was literally hundreds of them, and repaint the chair. Well, today I've done 2 coats of paint and I have recovered the seat. Where is it? There it is. So actually I might end up with 2 finishes for the finish along. I'm hoping to actually assemble it and just put a layer of varnish on the chair, and it should hopefully be ready before the link up closes. So actually I might have 2 finishes, so I'm quite pleased about that. I'm still working on the quilt that was on the wall last week, with the trellis quilt. I've stitched most of the circles down now. I've just got the orange flowers to go, so that's just 3 blocks I need to do the applique on, and then I can actually piece all the blocks together. So I'm hoping that within a week I might have that finished. So that's good. I've also signed up for the Bag of the Month Club. Now this is a $40 subscription, and for that you get 6 patterns that haven't been released before, and you get them on the 1st of the month every month. So the January one is out now. You can see this on Facebook as well, it's not actually a secret. I like to put mine on my Kindle so I can follow the patterns along. So the first one is called the Podium Bag by Chris W Designs. And it's a crossbody bag, and it's got kind of a flap that goes like this. It's almost like a small, like backpack style, but it's a crossbody. So I'm going to give that a go as well. I'd like to try and finish it within the month that they get released in, and then I can also enter for prizes and things too. But if you want to have a look at that, it's $40, and you can get that at bagomc.com. So that's the Bag of the Month Club. If you just Google it, you'll be able to find it too. Also this week I made this little clutch. This is the Sunburst clutch pattern. And this was a collaborative pattern by myself, so the paper piece flap was my contribution, and then the actual construction into a bag was by Samantha of Sewing Patterns by Mrs. H. And you might remember her as the designer behind the squiffy bags I've been making, and I'm going to be teaching a class on those too, so more on that in a little bit. But we do have this pattern. It's only in my Craftsy shop now, or my Etsy shop, but it's just quite a simple little clutch. Together it only took me really half an evening and an hour maybe before work the next day to just finish that off. The pattern normally has a few more rays coming off it, but I wanted to make a focal feature of that fox. If you want to just check back on my channel, the previous video is about the Tula Pink tools. So I go into how to change the blade on the rotary cutter if you've got one, because it is a little bit different to an alpha cutter. And also I show you the scissors and the snips too, so now I've got the snips as well. I did a little bit of fabric shopping as a present to myself, as well as the Bag of the Month Club. That was the other present to myself, that and the big cutting mat that I showed you a little while ago. And my next quilt is going to use these. The main colour in the background is going to be this Kona, and then I'm going to have some scallops in these prints by Alison Glass. These are from Diving Board. It's a nice pink there. It's blue, kind of like the geometricness of that one. And there's yellow. So that's going to be another magazine commission. I have another project that will be all solids that I can't show you until the middle of this year. Nearly said next year, it's 2018 now. So I will show you that closer to the time, but I also bought some other stuff just because. So these were on sale at Hawthorne Threads. These little fish. I thought this April Rhodes print is quite large scale. I thought it might make an interesting bag. It's not usually my sort of style, but I do think it could be interesting as a bag. I got some more of this octopus print. I have the blue version, so I thought I'll get the red one too. Some nice blenders. This is also from Diving Board, so maybe I'll mix that in with my other quilt. I haven't decided yet. Some more foxes. Leaves. And then this is one of Caterina Rocella's latest collection. I think it's called Esoterra. and it's dinosaurs for grown-ups. I've been using a lot of greens lately, so I got a couple of stash builders in green. And then I also got this ombre print as well. That's kind of like the difference from the top to the bottom. So that's my big stack of fabric that's on my desk right now. I'm working on a little display for zips. So I've been buying these recently as well. I'm going to try this out, where you buy the zip tape stuff by the yard, and then you get the pulls, and then you add the pulls to it yourself, so you can then cut them down to whatever length the pattern requires. But I have so many like zippers in the drawer of different lengths and different colours, and they're just all messed up, and I wanted to kind of maybe have a better way of organising them. So my plan is to get like a towel rack thing, and then hang the zippers off like shower curtain hooks. So we'll see what happens with that. I have to get around to going to IKEA and getting the towel rack, and with it being New Year, it's always really busy, so I'm kind of putting that off for a little bit. Another treat for myself that I bought, I haven't even opened yet, and these are punches. I'll show you what these are. So this little box, it has different shapes in, a little bit like rivet cutters, but you can cut squares, and you can literally just put the thinner end against the fabric or the vinyl in most cases, and then give it a whack with a mallet on the other side and punch out these squares. But there are other shapes in there too, and this will be useful for things like turn locks. I just got these off Amazon. So for example, those twist lock things that you get for the Necessary clutch wallet, more on that in a minute as well, you can use these to punch out the twist locks. I don't know whether I'll use them all, but I don't think they were very expensive. They were around, I think, 30 Canadian dollars for the set, and there's got to be at least 35 different shapes in there. Whether or not I use them, I don't know. So that is that. So back on to classes. I did mention earlier about the squiffy bag. My sewing room have an open house on January 7th, which is a Sunday. And I won't be there, unfortunately, because I have another thing that I'm going to. There will be some of my class samples there, and I'm completely starting from scratch this time. So I'll be doing a class on the Necessary clutch wallet. I'd show you an example, but I've already dropped it off at the store. And that is a wallet about this kind of size with a 10 clasp. It's big enough to keep a mobile phone in there, or at least most, unless you have like a big tablety one. It's got a little coin slot, it's got some nice card slots in there, and it folds up. So I'm going to do a class on that, and another class is going to be the squiffy bag. I can show you that just to remind you. I do have one of these in the... I do have one left at the store at the minute, which has the bears on it, and I did sell one when I did my craft fair, so this is the only squiffy I currently have to hand. But I will be walking you through this pattern, which will be available for sale at my sewing room in paper form, or you can buy it online from Samantha. And I'll also, if you buy directional fabric, I'll show you how to use that, and like I have on this particular bag. And I do have a video on that on my channel too, if you're not in the area and won't be going to that class, but you'd still like to know how to do that. So I'll be doing a class on this, and the third class is my pancakes pattern. And I've made some paper patterns to sell in the store. It's available as a PDF in my shop as well. And that is a curves class. So the quilt is made up of, I think, 20 blocks, and they're sort of around this sort of size. I think they're 12 inches, and each block is made of 4 quarter circles, and then there's a little square feature within the circle. So it's kind of quite a modern quilt, and it's quite quick to put together because there aren't lots of parts, but you will need template plastic to cut out the pieces, and it's a 2-session class. Same with all of the classes actually, they're all 2 sessions, so that makes them $65. Most of the time they're running the evenings between 6 and 9 p.m. I do have some weekend classes as well, so we've tried to mix it up to try and make it easier for people to be able to attend, and I'll have two classes on each of those projects. I'll put it up on my website once I have all the details. I haven't got all of the dates with me right now, but once I have that I'll make sure that they're up there just in case you want to sign up, and you just do that by going directly to my sewing room and signing up either in the store itself, which you can do on open house because often they have deals on open house day, or any other day of the week. You can also call them and reserve your place that way too. So I think that's kind of it from me right now. I've got a class this week which I'll be teaching. It's the very last of the Venti tote bag class. I think I've got 7 in that class. I don't really want to make another sample because I already have 2 of these giant bags now and I'm running out of uses for them. So I'm going to try and teach it without actually having my own examples in front of me, but I will have to take some scraps really to demonstrate the quilt as you go technique, which will be this Thursday. So that was kind of quite a long update really, with lots of fabric, so hopefully that's some eye candy that you appreciate that, and hopefully next week I will be back with a finished quilt.